Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Good Boxing Podcast with your host, Josh Saz. I gave you my Jake Paul versus Ben Askren prediction, but today I wanted to do a little bit of a different thing. I wanted to come up with and give you guys 4 ways Ben Askren can successfully defeat Jake Paul. Now, I'm going to hop right into the episode. I'm going to make this short and brief. Number one, the main flaw, in my opinion, that Ben Askren has is he keeps his left hand way too down. Jake Paul's clear number one weapon is that overhand right, and he needs to make sure that he defends it well. So, first things first, the way you want to defend from Jake Paul's right hand is 3 things. One, you can jab at his right hand. If you jab the right hand, you can certainly obstruct the pathway for the right hand. If you jab at it, block it, etc., you take away that overhand right from time to time. Another way you can successfully take away the right hand is post. Ben Askren, I've seen in many fights, especially with Damian Maia and other fights, he likes to use the post, right? He likes to stick that left arm out, really block the right hand. The only thing is, in boxing, right? Doing this is not enough. You're still going to get hit with that overhand right. You really got to post. And when I mean post, Jake Paul is taller than you. You got to go way high. Similar to what Tyson Fury did to Deontay Wilder, right? And 3, move away from the right hand. Try to move to your right. If you move away from the right hand, you could successfully move away from the overhand right. The best way to get away from a punch is by not being there to be hit, right? So, first things first, take away Jake Paul's right hand. Okay. That's number one. Number two, don't rush in. Now, I know this is going to seem counterintuitive and it's going to seem contradictory to what I say for steps 3 and 4, right? But take your time. Don't rush in. Jake Paul's clearly knows you're going to try to drown him and take him into deep waters. So for step number 2, take your time. Use feints. Use your jab. Try to establish distance. He knows you're going to try to rush in and try to rough him up, and you think that he's going to get tired. Now, you think you have boxing conditioning. I'm totally aware that you do 3 rounds or 5-minute rounds. You have been in MMA fights, but the conditioning and the pacing is different in boxing. Jake Paul is familiar with a professional boxing fight. You are not. So you have to realize that you will probably be a little more tired than Jake Paul. So don't rush in. Don't think that you're just going to muscle him, move him around, get inside, clinch, and do all these things that you think are going to work on Jake Paul. It's not going to work, especially not early. He knows that you're going to try to rough him up and make him tired. So take your time. Use your feints, use your jab, really establish your distance. And most importantly, why you shouldn't rush in is you're susceptible to uppercuts. If you try to rush in, you try to clinch, your head is there to be taken up into the sky. And I'm just being honest with you, based on the video I saw of Jake Paul practicing with his coaches, they are aware that you're going to try to go in, and you know that's your game plan, right? You want to get in. And I'm not saying it's not a good game plan, but in order sometimes to make your game plan work and execute, you have to kind of go away from it, come up with something that's not predictable. Take your time, use your jab, use your feints, pretend like you're going to go in and then box on the outside a little bit. If your goal is to knock him out, losing half of rounds to kind of establish your main goal and your main objective of knocking Jake Paul out, you cannot worry about points. So take your time going in. You won't get hit with overhand rights and you won't get hit with uppercuts if you take your time and establish your distance. Now, 3, once you establish your distance, get inside, work the inside. You see that inside close quarters combat, especially in that Nate Robinson fight, bothered Jake Paul. There were times that Nate Robinson, who is not that great of a boxer, clearly he was inexperienced, but you did see that the fact that he put pressure on Jake Paul, it bothered him. He couldn't get space for that overhand right. And the best space and the best place to be in for someone that likes to throw overhand right is to not let the overhand right crash. When a punch needs to land with power, it needs space. It's very similar to a wave in the ocean, right? If a wave in the ocean crashes right at the end, it knocks you down. But if you dive into a punch, or if you dive into a wave, or in this case, a punch, you're not going to take the full brunt of it and you won't get hit with the full power. So Ben Askren, you're the smaller guy. Get on the inside. Clearly, you're going to have the advantage with the hooks and uppercuts, especially if you've been practicing. You like being close. You like the clinch. You like all these things. That's going to give you the best chance to kind of be successful on the inside. And it will help you execute your game plan of trying to wear Jake Paul down. The only thing is, you cannot go to it right away, especially if the person that you're fighting knows that's what you want. It's what happened with Jorge Masvidal. They knew you were going to be anxious to shoot the gap. You clearly didn't want to exchange with Jorge Masvidal, and you were looking to take him down. And you got that knee, and you guys know how that ended. This can end up with either overhand right over the top or a right uppercut that'll take his head up into the moon, right? And then finally, 4, understand that with Jake Paul, in order to break his will, you're going to have to exchange with Jake Paul. Now, I know it seems counterintuitive, but you do not have the reach advantage. However, Jake Paul, in the middle of combinations, sometimes picks his head up and sometimes exposes himself more defensively than he realizes. Make him open up, make him throw that overhand right. And then you could take advantage of that. Counter his very, very committed punches. That's rule number 4. Counter his committed punches. If he's throwing an overhand right, make him miss and come back with your overhand right. If he misses the overhand right that he likes to throw a hook. If he throws a jab, bend to the side, hit him with the hard right hand. But use his hard shots to open up the avenues for you to score and hit and potentially knock him out. So those are 4 tips that I would give Ben Askren if he's looking to win this fight. Let me know your thoughts just to kind of recap. 1, right? Take away the overhand right. The overhand right is certainly Jake Paul's number 1 asset. 2, post, defend, right? Do what you have to do. Sit down and really, really keep things under wraps. Use that jab. Don't rush in. Use your feints. Don't look to go to your game plan right away. 3, get inside. Make him tired. Beat him up on the inside. Don't give him space to throw the overhand right or the jab. And then finally, 4, capitalize on his overcommitted punches. Counter, right? The best way sometimes to create offense is by using your defense to open up avenues on the way in. So those are 4 tips that I would give I would give Ben Askren to beat Jake Paul. I'm picking Jake Paul to win, but if I were the coach of Ben Askren or I was advising Ben Askren to do certain things, these are kind of things that I would give him in order to help him be successful against Jake Paul, because Jake Paul likes to throw wide, hard, committed shots. And if he misses, there is a tremendous counter window, right? And also, he has never been the full distance. Tire him out, but you got to kind of be patient. You can't just rush in, because the kid is going to be prepared for you to rush in. He knows you want to get inside. He feels the pressure of the moment, right? He knows he has to be ready for a dogfight. But if you wait a couple of rounds, change up the game plan, make him feel uneasy, be like, wait, this isn't what I practice. This is where your experience and your fight experience will come into play, right? Tactically. So that's the episode for today. Let me know how you feel about my strategy. If you hate it, feel free to write a comment, leave a like or a dislike. Just feel free to leave feedback. If you're on Instagram, feel free to follow at Good Boxing Podcast. And if you like this, video, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much, and have a great day.